welcome to my views on news. Today is Friday, first video for you. Breaking news is from Mekelle, Tigray's capital, where this morning drone strikes were conducted. What was the target? Kibrom Selassie, Mekelle Hospital spoke about the casualties. How many have been killed in this drone strike this morning in Mekelle? What was the target? Secondly, since yesterday, rumors have been going around that China has refused to sell its wing long one drones to Ethiopian government. That is why Ethiopia has revoked the license of Chinese gas and oil exploration company Poly GCL, which has been working in the Somali region for around a decade. Is there any truth in these rumors? We'll try to analyze these speculations and rumors. Lastly, viewers, UN Commission on Ethiopia, Inquiry Commission, which was formed last year, has submitted its report officially to the UN, and after that we saw statements, two statements, one from Tigray regional government and the other by Ethiopian federal government. What are the two governments, regional government and federal government, saying about this UN Inquiry Commission report? Firstly, viewers, Mekelle, Tigray's capital, where drone strikes are being conducted almost on daily basis. You see drone strikes in one or the other place in Tigray and around Tigray as well, wherever Tigray Defense Force is operating. Large number of drone strikes is being conducted. Only a few are reported by Tigray regional government. Ethiopian government is silent. It does not speak at all about these drone strikes and air strikes. This morning, once again, Mekelle, Tigray's capital, was hit. Around 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m., drone strike was conducted on Mekelle. What was the target? It is being said that the area where this drone strike was conducted has both residential and commercial buildings. Desta Hotel is situated in this area too, and drone strike was conducted close to Desta Hotel. Was the hotel target or some other place? It's not clear. But the area has both residential and commercial buildings. Maybe after some time we'll be able to get some information about the real target of these strikes conducted this morning. Kibrom Selassie, Tigray's Mekelle Hospital chief executive, has confirmed one death so far. He said one dead body has been brought to either referral hospital of Mekelle. Now, we have been discussing in previous videos too that the major difference between Tigray forces and Ethiopian federal forces and Eritreans is air power. Tigray has no air power. It has no capabilities to defend from air strikes or drone strikes. These Ethiopian drone strikes and air strikes are definitely having an impact on the mobility of Tigray forces, on their military assets. These strikes are being conducted. Civilians are dying too. We cannot deny civilian killing, because if you remember, a few days ago I reported about two drone strikes on Getachew house in Mekelle. In those twin strikes, more than 10 civilians were killed. Getachew survived. So you see that civilians are dying, whether due to the targets not being hit precisely, or sometimes targets are in residential areas. So you cannot ensure that no civilians die. If drone strikes continue, civilians will die as well. No matter how precise the drone strikes are, it happens. And Ethiopian federal government will never admit that civilians are dying. On the other hand, Tigray government will keep on saying that all targets are civilians. Truth is in between. Both sides are taking extreme positions. Truth is that some targets have been specified by Ethiopian government. Targets are being hit, sometimes precisely, sometimes not precisely. Targets hit too, and civilians dying as well. Secondly, viewers, rumors since last night have been going around. Some people contacted me as well. They said, Sajid, China has refused to sell its wing-long drones to Ethiopian government. That is why Ethiopian government has revoked the license of a Chinese company, PolyGCL. 2 days ago, Ethiopian government officially announced that it had revoked the license of PolyGCL, a Chinese company exploring for oil and gas in Ogaden Basin, Ogaden region of the Somali region of Ethiopia. For around a decade, the company has been operating in the Somali region. It started some oil production as well in Ogaden in 2018. But we could not see any major start of any major oil production in the Ogaden Basin, despite a decade-long work of this company. What is being said is that at UN General Assembly session sidelines, meetings were held between Mekelle, who is attending the session on behalf of Ethiopia, and the Chinese foreign minister. And there Mekelle requested the purchase of wing-long drones, but China refused, and that is why Ethiopia has revoked the license of Chinese PolyGCL. Well, I want to make 2 points only. Firstly, Ethiopia last year bought wing-long drones. Were the drones bought from China or from some other parties? What I have learned is that last year's wing-longs were bought from the UAE. Ethiopia bought wing-long from the UAE, not from China reportedly. And secondly, why would China refuse to sell wing-longs to Ethiopian government? General perception is that West and US are backing TPLF-led Tigray government. So China would naturally back Ethiopian government, like Russia is doing. So China will only refuse to sell its drones to Ethiopian government if its relations with Ethiopian government are not very friendly, if TPLF has managed to do some lobbying to convince China that it should stop supporting Ethiopian government militarily, which we have not seen happening. We have not seen any TPLF-led lobbying, TPLF-backed lobbying to convince China to stop supporting Ethiopian government. China has been actively supporting Ethiopian government. At UN General Assembly sessions, UN Security Council sessions, China, Russia openly supported Ethiopian federal government's stance on this war. And this company, PolyGCL, was served a warning notice, I think several weeks ago by Ethiopian government. Before the start of this third phase of this war, Ethiopian government warned this company that the company was not honoring its financial commitments, that action could be taken against the company. So this communication between the government and the company has been going on for some time. It's not a sudden decision. It's not that in New York meeting was held, China refused to sell drones and Ethiopia revoked the license. No. I have no credible information that China has refused to sell its wing-long drones to Ethiopian government. By the way, so many countries of the world have bought these wing-longs from China. China is doing business in Asia, in Central Asia as well, in Africa, several countries have bought these winglongs, and China does not impose any strict rules when it comes to selling its military hardware. Unlike US West, they always impose some restrictions regarding the sale of their weapon systems to the countries. China has less restrictions when it comes to dealings with selling Chinese weaponry to other countries. Same is the case with Turkey. That is why Turkish drones are being bought by several countries. Why? Because Turkey does not impose any restrictions on the use of these drones by the countries which buy these drones. So I personally don't see any truth in these rumors, but I'll update you if I receive any credible information that China-Ethiopia relations are not friendly. So far, China is backing Ethiopian government diplomatically at least. Lastly, viewers, the UN Inquiry Commission on Ethiopia has submitted its report to the UN. The commission was formed last year to investigate human rights abuses, violations of international humanitarian law, refugee law committed during Tigray conflict. The commission is accusing all parties of having committed human rights abuses, but charge sheet against Ethiopian government is longer. All parties have been accused of having committed sexual abuses. Ethiopian federal forces, Eritrean forces committed sexual abuses, sexual violence in Tigray. Tigray fighters committed the same in Amhara region, but Ethiopian government is involved in weaponizing of hunger. This report says drone strikes are causing civilian killings too. People of Tigray are being denied access to food, water, sanitation, education, banking, electricity, internet. So charge sheet against Ethiopian government and Eritrean government is longer. The two governments, Tigray regional government, Ethiopian federal government, both have released statements. Ethiopian federal government has outrightly rejected the commission's report. Government says the methodology adopted by this commission is erroneous and commission is biased. Its report is not neutral. On the other hand, Tigray regional government has welcomed the report, but it says that commission shouldn't have relied on earlier investigation conducted by UN Human Rights Body and Ethiopian Human Rights Body. But Tigray is welcoming this report. Tigray says that those incidents involving Tigray fighters in Amhara region are isolated incident. It wasn't systematic. It wasn't systematic use of violence in Amhara by Tigray region, and Tigray would take action against the fighters involved in human rights abuses committed in Amhara. By the way, we have not seen action taken so far by Ethiopian government or Tigray regional government. They have not taken any serious action against those who were involved in human rights abuses, sexual violence, violations of international humanitarian law, refugee law. No action has been taken. Rather, all parties defend their perpetrators. Now, what happens next when this report has been submitted? Will there be any action? Will there be action against all the parties or just Ethiopian federal government and regional government? Because allegations against Ethiopian federal government are grave allegations, serious allegations that their use of sexual violence was systematic, that they are deliberately trying to weaponize hunger, the issue of hunger. So let's see what happens next. Thank you very much.